Hello, welcome back. So in this part, we will solve the design example basically we are designing the doubly reinforced beam. So this is the problem that we are going to solve. So in this, it says we have to design a doubly reinforced beam for a, for a floor of commercial building. And the clear span of the beam is 5.5 meter and width of supporting wall is 230 mm. So basically this beam is resting on the wall and the thickness of wall is 230 mm. And the live load can be taken as 3 kilonewton per meter square, and center to center spacing of beam is 4 meter. So basically there will be beams, say 3 beams, 4 beams or 5 beams. It is not given here, but it says that all the beams are equally spaced and their spacing is 4 meter. So it says the thickness of RCC floor slab supported on the beam is 150 mm. So basically in the commercial building, there will be a floor slab, and that floor slab will be resting on the beam, and beam is resting on the wall. So it says the overall depth of the beam is restricted to 500 mm, which means the depth of beam cannot exceed the 500 mm. So there is a depth restriction. And in the design, the material which will be used in the beam will be concrete of grade M25 and steel of grade F415. So by reading this problem, first of all, we will try to make the diagram. So basically, it says that there is a commercial building, and in the commercial building, there are beams which are equally spaced by 4 meter. This is 3.5 meter. Actually, it is not 4 meter. This is 3.5 meter. So these beams are equally spaced by 3.5 meter, and this beam is it is supporting a floor slab, and the thickness of floor slab is 150 mm, and the depth of beam is restricted to 500 mm, and beam is resting on the uh, wall, and the thickness of wall is given as 230 mm. So with this data, first of all, we will try to make a rough diagram so that we understand the problem well. So I have made the diagram. So in the diagram, you can see uh, this is in the continuation from both sides. So this is the wall, and this is wall 1 and this is wall 2, and on these two walls there are some beams like this. This red line is showing the center line of the beam, and you can see the spacing of the beam is 3.5 meter. Similarly, the thickness of wall is 230 mm, and the clear span, this one is the clear span of the beam. So this clear span of beam is 5.5 meter. It is mentioned here, you can see here. So this is the rough diagram so that we can understand the problem, what we have to do. So basically, we will assume that all these beams are identical. So we will design only one beam, other beams will be designed automatically because all beams will be identical. So their spacing will be 3.5 meter. So we will start our problem now. So all the previous steps, the steps that we have followed in the design of singly reinforced beam, we are going to follow the same steps here also. So first step will be material and the design constants. So in this, what we are going to find out is, we will find out M value, N value, J and R, and they actually depends on the value of sigma ST and sigma CVC. And sigma ST and sigma CVC depends on the grade of concrete and grade of steel. So that is already mentioned in the question. So I am taking the value here directly, but this value we can find out from the IS code, and I have explained this, how to find out this, so you can refer to my previous lecture. So sigma CVC and sigma ST value in our case will be 230 and 8.5 Newton per mm square. And using these value, we can find out the value of M, which is 280 by 3 sigma CBC. Putting the value, we can find out M value. Similarly, we can find out the N value also. So N, the formula for the N will be M into sigma CBC into, M into sigma CBC by M into sigma CBC plus sigma ST. So putting all the values, we can calculate the value of N as 0.29. After that, we will find out the value of J, and J is 1 minus N by 3. So you can see here, there is a sequence. First, we are calculating M, then we are calculating N, then we are calculating J. You can see here, M is dependent on sigma CBC and yes, sigma CBC only, and then N is dependent on M, sigma CBC and sigma ST. Then J is dependent on N, and then J value is calculated, and after that you can see that R is dependent on J. So that is why we generally calculate these design constant in this manner only. So R value, putting all the values here, we can find out the R value as 1.11. So all these design constants will be used in our design. Now going to the step 2. Now in the step 2, we are supposed to estimate the beam size, which is B into D. Well, in the question, it is mentioned that the depth of beam cannot exceed 500 mm. So what we are doing is, we will consider our maximum depth of beam as 500 mm. So this is the overall depth as 500 mm. And with this, then we will find out the effective cover. To calculate the value of effective depth and effective cover, to find out the effective cover, we need to assume the dia of bar, we need to find out the clear cover, and clear cover depends on the exposure condition. So generally, if it is not mentioned in the question, we generally assume the moderate exposure. So we will assume the moderate exposure and the dia of bar, say 20 mm. So it is actually 20 mm. So after that, we can find out the effective cover, and with that, we can find out the D. And D will be 500 minus clear cover minus half of the dia of the bar. And with that, the D provided that we are providing here, D provided will be 460 mm. And also, as the width of beam is not mentioned, so width of beam can be calculated as, say, D by 1.5 D, something like this. Sorry, it is actually D by 1.5. So if we use this relation, this is basically a thumb rule. So B is equals to 460 by 1.5. So this will be 306 point something. So what we can do is, either we can take 300 mm also, but this time I am assuming 250 mm. Well, width of beam is not that much significant as the depth is, but still we need to have a minimum, the maximum limit of the width of beam will be given by this, but we can take lesser value also. So that doesn't mean that we can't take 300 mm. We can take 300 mm also, but this time, in this case, what I'm going to take is, I'm taking a lesser value as 250 mm, because this will also determine the economical things also. So to make our structure economical, we can reduce this width also. Okay, so that is why I'm taking 250 mm here. So finally, the size of the beam that we are adopting as 250 by 500. So that is our step 2. In the step 3, we will find out the effective span that, I mean, in the same way as we have calculated in lecture 11. So as per IS code, L will be the equal to the least of clear span plus D. So this D is actually D provided, which is 460, and clear span is 5.5 meter. So adding them, we get 5960 mm. This is the one aspect. By calculating the second way, which is center to center of the support. Well, the width of support is 230 mm on each side, and the clear span of the beam is 5.5 meter. So center to center of the supports comes out as 5730. So the least value is this one. So we will adopt our effective span as 5.73 meter. Now we will calculate the load per meter on beam, and that is probably the most important step of this design. So to calculate the load per meter on beam, well, beam is like this one. On both sides there is a support, and the load will be of UDL type, and UDL is W kilonewton per meter. So on 1 meter length, how much load will be there? So as the actual scenario is given in the question, so now I'm going to use the same diagram that I have shown you in the start of this problem, and that is this one. So in this case, you can see this is the wall, this is the wall, and for example, if I'm designing this beam, so in this case, this beam is supporting all the beams are supporting the floor slab, but we need to find out how much area of the slab is supported by one beam, and to be specific, by 1 meter of beam. So there you can see all the beam, the red line is showing the center line of the beam. So in between this beam and this beam, there is this slab, and you can see half of the slab will be supported by this beam and half of the slab is supported by this beam. Similarly, for this beam also, the half part of the slab is supported by this one, and the remaining half will be supported by this beam. So as I'm designing this beam, so in this case, this green line is showing the area of the slab which will be supported by this whole beam. But we have to find out what will be the area of slab on 1 meter length of beam. So the length of beam will start from here, and say 1 meter is up to this one. So up to this 1 meter, what will be the area of the slab which will be resting on 1 meter length of the beam. So this shaded part I am showing here. So this shaded part, the length of this shaded part will be 3.5 meter, because half part is taken from this side and half part is taken from this side. So this becomes 3.5 meter and this becomes 1 meter. So ultimately I can say that the length of beam, per meter length of beam, is supporting the area of slab as 3.5 meter multiplied by 1. So which means 3.5 meter square area of the slab is supported by 1 meter length of beam. So on this area, what is the load? That is the load we have to find out in our case. So on this area, floor slab is there, the self weight of beam is there, live load is there, and also floor finishing will also be there. So the same diagram, I mean, if we cut the section from here to here, the section will be shown something like this. So in the second diagram, you can see here, this beam is this one, and this is the beam that we are considering to design. So this will be the slab, this will be the slab, and 3.5 meter is the width of slab which is supported by this beam. And on the beam, the pink line, the thick pink line is actually showing the roof or floor finishing. So this floor finishing will also have some weight on it. So basically, the load that we have to calculate on the beam will be in the form of dead load and in the form of live load. So in the dead load, what are the load that we have to consider that we will see? So first load will be the dead load. Now in the dead load, there will be the self weight of slab, there will be the self weight of beam, there will be the weight of finishing, floor finishing, this one. So we have to consider all this one to calculate the dead load. So first of all, we will find out the self weight of the slab. As I said that on 1 meter length of beam, we will consider this much area of the slab, as this much area of the slab is supported by 1 meter length of the beam. Because we are calculating load per meter length. Why? Because the load on the beam is in the form of UDL, and we express UDL in the form of load per meter length. So that is why we are calculating the load on the beam per meter length. So in this case, self weight of beam is volume into density. So slab is of RCC. So RCC density is 25 and volume of slab will be 1 into 3.5. You can see here, this is the area, and area multiplied by the thickness of the slab. So we are converting this thickness into meter. So 150 by 1000. So after calculating, we get the self weight of slab as 13.125 kilonewton. So this is the weight of the slab resting on this 1 meter length of the beam. After that, we will find out the self weight of beam, because beam will support its own weight also. So the self weight of beam can be calculated as the length of beam, which is 1 meter. The width of beam is, sorry, the depth of beam is 0.5 meter. You can see here. So this much depth. So this depth is 500. So this is already mentioned in the question. I mean, the depth of beam is restricted to 500 mm, which is the overall depth, and the width of beam. So width of beam is 250 mm, and the RCC density. So this again is the volume of beam per meter length multiplied by the density of RCC. So by calculating, we can find out the self weight of beam as 3.125 kilonewton. After that, floor finishing can also be calculated. Well, the load of floor finishing is not mentioned in the question, but we can assume that because the floor finishing is generally around this value. It is generally 0.5 to 0, generally 0.5 to 1 kilonewton per meter square. The weight of floor finishing is around this one. So 0.5 to 1 kilonewton per meter square, which means for unit square, this much load of floor finishing can be taken. But in our case, the area under consideration is this one. So this is the area, which is 3.5 meters square. So there you can see the value of floor finishing multiplied by the area under consideration, which is 1 into 3.5 meter. So after this, we can calculate the floor finish as 2.625 kilonewton. After that, we can find out the live load. Well, live load is already mentioned in the question that the intensity of live load is 3 kilonewton per meter square, which means for unit square, the load of live load, I mean, the live load can be taken as 3 kilonewton. But in our case, the area under consideration is again this one, this area. So the live load value will be 3 multiplied by the area under consideration, which is 1 into 3.5. So after that, we can calculate the live load as 10.5 kilonewton. So now we have calculated the dead load and the live load. So the total load that will be on the beam per meter length will be this one. So now we will add this load, this load, this one, and this one. So all the load comes out, total load comes out as 29.375 kilonewton per meter. So this much load is supported. So now I will make the diagram of the beam. So if this is the beam and this is the UDL, so the value of UDL will be 229.375 kilonewton per meter. So this is the load that we have calculated, and this is actually the actual problem that can be, this is the practical problem. So this is how we can calculate the load. So we will continue our discussion. We will continue this solution in the next part. Thank you.